Hi teachers, Nicola Canton here from Colourful Keys, coming to you for another Tuesday teaching chat. And today we're talking about what to do when kids have not practiced. The reason I wanted to chat to you about this today is that for many of us we're coming up on a Christmas season, or perhaps Hanukkah or some other festival, but for many of us, this time of year is a time when kids can get maybe more than a little bit distracted and maybe have other things going on besides practicing piano. So when this happens, kids can be coming into lessons and they just have not touched the piano during the week. And when that happens, what I don't want you to do is to stress out, because it actually doesn't help at all. It won't make you feel better. It definitely won't make the kid feel better. And especially if they're normally a decent practicer, I don't think it achieves anything. Now, if they're completely out of the habit of practicing, I still don't think it's worth stressing or giving out to them about it. Maybe you need to have a chat with the parents. But when it comes to kids who just that week, they didn't get time, or maybe those 3 or 4 weeks they did not get time to practice, and maybe there's family visiting and there's all sorts of stuff going on and it's just not happening. So if you then are just giving out to them, or not even giving out but saying, oh, well, how are you going to get to practice this week, and what's it going to be like, and why didn't you get to practice? I just think that's a waste of your breath, and you could do more fun stuff with that space of time. So what are you going to do in that lesson? The student has not maybe moved on from where you left them at last week's lesson. So what can you do? Well, I've got 5 activities for you to try for a no practice lesson. And the student hasn't practiced, maybe just last week, maybe for 3 or 4 weeks. All these activities are a great way to stop yourself from going crazy. Okay, so the first one is to improvise. Now, if you haven't done improvisation with your students before, I really want to encourage you to give it a go. It is so much fun, it's musical, and it does not require any practice if you do it in this certain way. So I love using things like pattern play, or the brand new Create First series from Forrest Kinney. That's really, really fun. So that's a great way to get your student improvising without them ever having done it before, and make sure that they're going to sound fantastic, because they will. If you use Forrest Kinney's wonderful accompaniments and get your student improvising with the, just the black keys or the E-flat blues or something, they'll sound awesome no matter what they do, if they even try a little bit. So that's a great way to fill up some time in a no practice lesson. Another way to do that improvisation thing is to take one of their pieces that they're working on and just take normally the left hand, take the harmonies, keep that, and have them improvise the melody. So just take whatever actual notes were in the piece and make that into your scale. Could only be 4 notes in many pieces, so it could be just G, A, B, D, and those are their 4 notes. They can mess around with those, and that's a really wonderful way to get them improvising and still sort of learning about their piece and how it's structured. So that's number 1. We can improvise. We can do some improvisation. Number 2 tactic for if students have not touched the piano all week and you don't want to have a Groundhog Day lesson, is to play some games. So I'm big on games. If you know me at all, I love to get my students playing games. I have a few new ones, so especially since the reason they may not have practiced at the moment is the Christmas season. So I've got 3 new Christmas games. I got Snowflake Synonyms, always had trouble with that word. Build a Snowman. This has got all pieces of a snowman in it, really fun. And the new free one, which is up on the blog, I'll leave a link in the comments when I'm finished, is Gift Grab. So that one, you're matching up gift lids. You can kind of see that, sorry about the shine. Matching up gift lids based on music terms. So any kind of fun way to capture and sort of work with the season that's in it. The reason they're distracted is probably Christmas. So work with that. Get them playing games that that play with that, and they'll have tons of fun and they'll be way more enthusiastic about their piano lessons. So you've got them improvising, you've got them playing games. Let's say you still have some time left over to do with the students that just has not practiced at all. One really fun thing that I love to do is to go back to one of their old pieces, any favorite old piece, anything they loved playing, and jazz it up a little bit. So it could be as simple as going back to the very start of a primer level book and adding left hands to the right hand pieces and adding right hands to the left hand pieces, adding some harmony. They could learn a ton from that about chords and the way they work and how we complement melodies. Or you could go back to a piece that's a little bit more complicated and add in some little embellishments. So maybe you add in actual grace notes, maybe you add in trills, and they're learning about Baroque music, and you add in all that fun stuff. No matter if the piece is Baroque or not, really doesn't matter. Add in ornaments, add in fill notes, put in a repeat and vary the melody, transpose it. Take any old piece and you can just pull it apart and learn so much from that process, and they don't need to have practiced it anytime recently. So that's 3 ways to have a no practice lesson so far. We've got improvising together, playing tons of games to learn about theory, and jazzing up an old piece. I have 2 more for you. If you have your own suggestions for what to do when students have not practiced, that isn't just asking them why they haven't practiced or throwing your hands up in the air or banging your head against a wall, then please put them in the comments, because I'd love to see what you do in this situation. Now, I've got 2 more for you, like I said. So I like to use this time to maybe teach them a thing or 2 about practice, and in a fun way, fun practice strategies. If there's 2 things I love, it's getting students playing games during lessons and making practice into a game as well. So one of the ways I do this is my practice kits. You can kind of see those there. So inside them there is cards and post-its and playful practice cards, which are these repetition cards that I made, and tabs and all this stuff. And there's instructions in there of different practice games you can play. So for example, me and my student the other day, we were playing Chop Suey. Now this isn't my idea. I'm afraid I don't know where it comes from though. So if you know who invented this game of Chop Suey, please tell me. But Chop Suey is where you take a deck of cards and you divide the piece into 10 parts, and then you draw a card. And if you draw an eighth, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, is you play that section of the piece. And a jack means you play the first section, a queen means you play the last section, and a king means you play the whole piece. It's just a simple way of getting them to repeat different parts, starting different spots, because we all know they could use some of that, rather than starting at the beginning, and divide up the piece and do something fun and creative with practice time. So if your student has not practiced, now is a great time to do some in-lesson practice in a way that's not dull. It's not you saying, well, play it 5 times because you haven't practiced it, so you have to do it now. I don't like that, because it's grumpy teacher face, it makes them really enthusiastic about practice, and it means they're even less likely to practice this week. That's the honest truth, because they now have a negative feeling that they associate with piano that week. That's going to be their latest memory, is you sitting there with a sour face on. And maybe, you know, fear is a good motivator, but honestly, I don't believe in it. I believe in motivating them by making it seem fun and rewarding. So getting some great practice strategies in there that they can see that practice can be fun is an awesome thing to do at this time. Now, I've got one more strategy for you. Number 5, fun thing to do when students have not practiced. And again, do leave your suggestions in the comments if you're watching this. Number 5 for me is sight reading. Now, this isn't sight reading exercises from a boring exam book. This is getting out a book, any book, that is a few levels below where the student is at, and sight reading through it with them. You could play through a whole book if you go a few levels down, and it could be a whole book of pop tunes. They'd really enjoy that. They'd get some great sight reading practice, they'd learn a lot, And again, you wouldn't just be getting cross with them about not having practiced. Another great thing to do in terms of sight reading is if you have a book that's suitable, that you can play the duet part with, that's a really wonderful thing to do. I love to do that with my students because they have to keep going. So it really reinforces that idea that when we're sight reading, we do not stop. We do not go back. We keep going, and the train is moving forward and it's going on without you, whether you're there or not. So you need to catch up with it. Okay, so we've got 5 strategies there to turn to when your student has not practiced, perhaps because of being distracted with Christmas, and you don't want to just be giving out to them about not practicing or throwing your hands up in the air or getting really annoyed and stressing yourself out and achieving nothing in the process. So let's run through those 5 quickly again. We've got improvisation, using simple resources to use like Create First by Forrest Kinney is wonderful. Get them improvising, get them playing around and learning about scales and patterns and just making music. Number 2, play games. Use the time to play some theory games and brush up on their music terms or note values or note names or whatever they need work on. Use this time for that and they'll love you for it because it'll be fun, it'll be in keeping with the season if you use a themed game, and it's just so much better than sitting there asking them to play a piece over and over again. Number 3, go back and jazz up an old piece. You go back to any old piece that they liked and add some harmonies to it, add some extra bits into the melody, add some ornaments, write in little musical symbols, and basically recreate the whole piece and make it super fun. Number 4, use this time to teach them effective and enjoyable practice strategies, such as those you'll find in the practice kit. I will share a link with that to that in the comments with the instruction booklet and all that fun stuff. And number 5, get them sight reading, something fun. So a pop book, a jazzy book, anything they would enjoy that's a few levels below where they are, and literally read through the whole thing in lessons. They can do it. And it's even better if you have a teacher duet part to combine with that to make them keep moving forward. Okay, so those are 5 ideas for you if you have students coming into you at the moment who have not touched the piano all week. Now, I wanted to say one more note before I leave you, which is, if you haven't heard yet, me and Tim Topham are running the Piano Pivot. This is a 5-day challenge. It's actually a little bit more than 5 days. That's going to help you change things about your teaching that you really want to change in 2018. So we're getting ahead on the planning. We're looking forward to the new year so that when January rolls around, we're going to go bang, and we're going to make our studios even more amazing next year. So we deal with you and your personal health and looking after yourself and your free time and all that stuff, your ideal students, your teaching, organizing your music, and your business. But we make it fun, I promise. This is kicking off with the pre-launch broadcast this Saturday at 9 p.m. my time. Okay, so let me run through the time zones. If you are in the Eastern time zone in the States, that is 4 p.m. If you are on the Pacific coast, that is 1 p.m. on Saturday. If you're in Australia, New Zealand, that area, that is 8 a.m. in Melbourne. So I think you can work around from there. Okay, so if you have not signed up for that, if you're not in the Vibrant Music Studio Teachers group, please jump in there because that's where loads of this fun stuff is happening. The live broadcasts for the Piano Pivot will not be on this page on Colourful Keys. They will be in that group. So you have to join there to be able to participate and comment and all that fun stuff. Vibrant Music Studio Teachers is what you search for. If you just search for Vibrant Music, it should show up. And you can get your booklet. Do I have it around? No, it's underneath all this stuff. But there is an awesome booklet that goes with it that's going to walk you through everything we're talking about. And it's really amazing. We had a lot of fun putting it together for you guys. So if you want to get that and get the daily updates about what's going on in the Pivot all next week, go to pianopivot.com. pianopivot.com to sign up there, and Tim will send you all that stuff through in an email. So I really look forward to seeing you guys on the piano pivot. And happy Tuesday. Have a great day.